Hi folks, welcome back to Meaningful Money. Okay, here I am on Treen Cliff. Behind me, to the right of your screen, is Logan Rock. Famous big chunk of granite. Famous because it's a rocking stone, so despite the fact that it weighs 80 tons, you can rock it by hand. Now, it's a little bit more difficult to do these days because in 1824, some bright spark lieutenant in the Navy decided it would be a good idea to rock it so hard that it fell off. Not all the way down the cliff, as some people think, but the locals were understandably a bit annoyed about that because it's quite a tourist attraction. So what they did is they petitioned the Navy, who made said lieutenant put the thing back 80 tons using his own money. In the end, he found a sponsor, but it cost him £125 in 1824 and took him months to get the thing back to its rightful place. But this is the Logan Rock, just above, down rather, from the village of Treen. And just down there is a beach called Pednivounder, which is not a place to take your kids because it's the sort of place that people go who like to let it all hang out when they sunbathe. Okay? So, funny things go on down this far in Cornwall. A bit more detail now on annuities. We talked about the basics last time, but we need to talk about now how the amount of income you get from an annuity is determined. Now remember, you've handed over your pot to an insurance company and they're going to give you an income in return, and the way that that is determined depends on several things. Firstly, your age. The older you are, the less time you have to live, therefore they'll give you more income. Make sense? Okay, there are actuarial tables which tell the insurance companies what the average life expectancy of a person aged, say, 65 will be, and so they work out what income they're going to give you based on those tables, because obviously they want to make a profit out of it if at all possible. So age is a big deal. Gender is obviously one. Women live longer than men, so generally speaking they get lower annuity rates, less income. Your health is a big one. If your health is poor, your lifespan is shortened, therefore you can get more money. I mentioned that last time. Impaired life annuities are a specialism, but a great way of increasing the income you can get from an annuity if you're in poor health. There are also options you can choose, which I'll come back to in a minute, and they determine what income you get. The amount of bells and whistles and add-ons and things that you add onto your annuity determine the amount of income you get. A biggie is gilt yields. Remember, we talked about gilts ages ago and what they are. A gilt is a government bond, but it's also a very safe and secure investment. Now, what you're doing, remember, with an annuity is you're giving your fund to the annuity company, and they're giving you an income for life. Now, they've got your money forever, but they also want to make sure that they have enough money to honour their contract to you to pay you an income for the rest of your life. And so they invest a good portion of what their annuity funds are in gilts. And the return on gilts, specifically the yield, determines the amount of income you get. And that's been a reducing pattern in recent years. So the profitability of the life company is the final factor, really. All these things determine the income that you're going to get. Now, you've got some options when you take out an annuity. The first one, which has the biggest impact on the income you get out of it, is whether you choose a level annuity, an income which stays the same for the rest of your life, or an indexed annuity, an income which goes up every year according to usually a fixed amount, say 3% a year, or by inflation, whatever figure you choose for that. Now that sounds like a no-brainer. You'd have one which went up every year, right? Well, what if I told you that if you choose that option, then your initial income, your starting first year income, is going to be about a third less than it would be if you chose a level income. Okay, I'll put a little graph on the screen to illustrate that, but level or indexed makes a big difference, a third less if you choose, as a rule, if you choose an indexed annuity. So what about the other options? Well, you can opt to have your capital protected, so that even if you're taking your annuity, if you die early, then there can be a lump sum payable. We call that capital protection. If you choose that, it will also impact the income you get, because effectively it's a little bit of life assurance built into the annuity. Choosing whether you go for a single or a joint annuity makes a big difference as well. So if you are a sugar daddy type, say you're 70 years old and you've got hot young thing for a wife who's 60. Well, if you go for a joint annuity, so the annuity pays for both your lives, it's effectively an annuity on the younger woman's life, because it's payable to both of you. So even though you, the sugar daddy, will die first, the younger lady will have the income paid for the rest of her life. So you don't really matter, it's all on her life, really. You can choose whether to have your income continue to pay in full if you die first, to continue to pay in full to your spouse, or maybe half of the income, or maybe 2/3 of it. So the level of spouse's income you choose has an impact on the income you get from the outset. The guaranteed period that you choose also has an impact. What a guarantee period is, it's a minimum payment term. So if you set a guarantee of 10 years, which is the maximum you can normally do, if you die after 1 year, the income will continue to be paid for the balance of the 10 years. Again, kind of like an insurance. But that has an impact as well. The final two really are the frequency of payment, so you may get slightly more income if you choose to have it paid annually than if you have it paid monthly, but it's usually negligible. And likewise, whether you have it paid in advance or arrears. That only makes a difference if you're going for an annual payment, because if you choose an annual in arrears annuity, you ain't going to receive anything until a year from the date that you set it up, because it's annually and in arrears, behind. So all of those options make a big difference to the income you can get from your annuity. And once you've decided on those options, it's set. You can't change it, you can't undo it. On a conventional lifetime annuity, which is what we're talking about here, once you've made those decisions and picked your options, that's it, there's no going back. So it's absolutely essential that you get them right, and for that you need to take decent advice, of course, or just watch this video again. But get lots of quotations. Find lots of insurance companies who will give you quotations. Decide, particularly if you're married, what you would like to happen if you, the annuitant, the person buying the annuity, dies first. Would you like an income to continue to be paid to your spouse? These are all the questions you've got to answer when choosing an annuity. Final thing to say is that an annuity is a taxable income. It's as if you've earned it from a job. So I'm afraid it's taxed, depending on your personal tax situation, of course. But that's pretty much it. I've thrown a lot of information at you there, so you can always leave questions in the comments section, and I'll do my best to answer them. But all those things impact the level of income you can get from your annuity. And so making that decision is a big deal. You've got to get it right. That's conventional annuities. Next time I'm going to talk about some newer kinds of annuities which have been developed in probably the last 20 years or so to get around the disadvantages of conventional annuities. So these are annuities where you can perhaps change the income. So I'll come back to those next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye from Trencliffe and Logan Rock.